Thank you, thank you, Chairperson, for your kind words. I will just go directly to present my papers. And I'd like to mention, before I move on, I came to Bhutan in April and was given a very warm welcome with the school children lining along the road. You can see at the bottom page. We were very happy the moment we touched the airport. And actually, it was coinciding with the visit of the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. So when we were walking along the way, the children were waving to us. So we were so happy until about 10 kilometers down the road, we were blocked. And we were losing a bit of patience after we had to sidetrack for 2 hours waiting for the Prime Minister to pass by. However, along the way to Samsi, we stopped by a few farms, and the pictures on my left are some of the pictures I took with the farmers, and their smile inspired and initiated this study to explore the farmers' happiness in Sarawak, in the sago industry. And I have been studying sago for about 16 years, but I have never studied the farmers. So today, with the inspiration from Bhutan, I went back in a few months and came out to present this paper entitled Sustaining Farmers' Happiness in Modernization of Sago Industry in Sarawak. And I have to tell you some background of the sago so that later you can understand the outcome of my study, because yesterday it was mentioned that farmers are the most unhappiest group among the community. Sago has been considered as the 21st century starch crop, and it is found in the Southeast Pacific region in most of the country like Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, Timor-Leste, Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu, Fiji, and Samoa. In countries like Thailand, Philippines, and Fiji, the sago has been phasing out as food resources for food sustenance. However, in Indonesia, Timor-Leste, and Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu, it is in Papua New Guinea, it is their main staple food. And it's an income contributing to earner to household for food security and poverty alleviation. In Sarawak, the coastal Malinau community are the ones who have been depending on sago for their staple food until the economy pick up, and they have been producing, they continue to producing this sago to get money to buy rice. And the only group of people, only tribe of people in Sarawak who are still eating sago as a staple food are the nomadic and semi-nomadic Penan. Now, sago plays a very important role in terms of environmental conservation because it is the only crop that can survive in the peat area, peat soil, deep peat, without any management and with the proliferation of suckers that you don't need to do any replanting. It is just like bananas, if any one of you know how banana looks like. And it, however, the only drawback is that it has a very long gestation period of about 10 to 15 years because the sago is extracted from the palm, from the log itself, and it will reach about 20 feet. And before it's flowering, that is the starch quality is there, and you have to lock it. Now, I just give you a brief picture of supply chain of these underutilized indigenous food resources, in which the upstream industry of sago is still very traditional and having no technology, advanced technology being studied on, although the Japanese have been doing a lot of research in this area because Japan actually are the main importer of sago starch, which they include them in udon. And I'm not sure whether the Japanese agree with me or not. And however, the starch extraction industry is very modern. It's one of the most advanced technology. And Sarawak actually is is among the 3 largest producers of starch with Indonesia and Papua New Guinea, but it is the biggest exporter of starch because we don't have sago starch as our staple food. The price of sago is very expensive, about 2,000 plus per ton, and it's very high demand. And so in Sarawak, the strategy is to increase yield is by the Sarawak government investment on cultivating sago in a large-scale farming, following the oil palm management. And it is the first in the world to cultivate sago, to domesticate sago, with a total area of about 55,000 hectares until 2013. And it is now 2017, and we are harvesting the first crop of sago. And also, in addition to increase yield for export, they have successfully implemented sago smallholder satellite estate development, which is called SSED, which is consolidating all the smallholders farmers into organized management. And this has been undertaken by the Land Custody Development Agency, which in short is called LCDA. And in this SSED management, the LCDA undertakes the management of the farm in modernizing it, while the owners would just be waiting for it after 10 years to harvest the mature palms. So they are not really involved in looking after it. And an average of about 2 hectares was allocated to each farmer. Now, the differences between modernization and traditional approach. On the left hand is the sago palm plantation and organized smallholders consolidation farming, which involve in farming design, use of fertilizer, suckers pruning, and chemical and manual weeding. And so if you look at the picture, you see that you have very uniform sago palm. While on the other hand, for the traditional method, all these farmers sago farms inherited from their forefathers, as these plants are actually planted in the native customary right land, which is their right to, which belongs to them. And all they need to do is manual weeding and suckers pruning. So we conducted this pilot study to explore the association between economic transformation and psychological cause, and analyze factors affecting the happiness so that we can construct the happiness index of sago farmers in Sarawak. And I don't have to go into detail how we conduct it, but the first was we got secondary data of these SSED participants, and secondly, we have a sample and conducted face-to-face questionnaires. The slides here shows the age and gender profile of the participants and respondents. On the left is the secondary data that we collected on all the SSED participants, and you find that actually we have an aging farm smallholders, and it's like a Christmas tree in which most of the farmers are already above 50 years and above, and we have farmers as old as 107 years old. And I understand from the Japanese, we just have the Sago Symposium. They said sago is a very good food for dieting because it has low calories compared to rice. And below 40, and there are not many farmers, like I think in all over the world, it is the same. So our sample pattern is more or less the same as all the participants' profile. And most of the farmers, of course, are male dominant, and ladies are mainly housewives who have this sago farm inherited from their parents. There are 59 respondents. Actually, it's quite tedious for us to go interview during them, because if you look at the educational level, most of these farmers only study up to lower secondary school. That means it is about 16 years old. And most of those who have higher school education will be those below 40 years. And in Malaysia, it is compulsory to study until 16 years old. And if you look at the marital status, about 90% of the farmers are all married, happily married, I suppose. And those single are the young ones who are only about 19 and 20 years old. Those are the school dropouts. And widowed will be those that are very old age. Now, as I explained to you that I have mentioned that sago, the practice of the sago farmers just looking at, they do not need to look after the farm. All they need to do is just to do a bit of weeding, a bit of suckers, and then they just wait for the palms. And each cluster, they just need to take about 4 or 5 palms there so that they can reduce the competition. So although 50%, more than 50% consider themselves as full-time farmers, but they are actually having very diversified farming activities. Some of them are vegetable farmers, some of them are fruit farmers and poultry, looking after ducks and chickens. And then the others are businessmen, government, private staff, even driving instructors. They have time to go and have a look at their farm. Fishermen, housewife, pensioners, and a sailor. And they are considered what we call part-time sago farmers, but they are still able to look after their farm and get their income as the full-time farmers. Now, when we ask them the hours spent in the farm, we expect that those who have registered for the SSED program, that they will spend less time because the LCDA is actually maintaining their farm. We found out that there was no significant difference at all. The reason was because those about 70% of them are monitoring what is happening under the scheme, because the LCDA actually employ Indonesian or foreign workers, which they believe that if
Margaret,
we are not
2 minutes left.
If we are not supervising them, they would be smoking under the oil palm trees. I hope there's no Indonesians around here. And about 13.6% of them actually actively took part because they did not really trust the laborers. So what we did was we looked at the subjective well-being on a very few dimensions, looking at their health. Of course, naturally, it's a Likert scale between 1 to 5. And for health, we got a mean score of 3.24, and it's expected because we have farmers who are above 51 years and above. I think for many of us who have reached 50, we are already complaining about backache and kneecap ache and so on. So we can expect something from that from the farmers. Now we will look at their personal life, whereby they're happy with the standard of living, major occupation, the daily life and work-life balance. They are all very happy, very satisfied. And also their relationship with their immediate family and provision for their own family, they are also happy, 4.69. And the farmers' total income, they are also satisfied, almost very satisfied with their with this income that they have. And there's nobody who responded on neither satisfied or very dissatisfied. Our total income from sago farmers is averaging about 1,000 ringgit Malaysian, and total household income from the whole activities less than 4,000, which is the minimum income targeted by the Malaysian Economic Transformation Program by 2020. However, 97% of them agreed that their household income were better than 5 years, and it's not an issue, as the current income generating activities were sufficient to sustain their basic needs. How happy they are, I think I have to just summarize that they are happy. There was a study saying that for age group, those who are under 20 and those who are above 50 are very happy because they don't have to worry about work and family. So it actually fit into that pattern very well. And the other thing is because they're self-employed, they have the freedom. And also traditionally, the farmers have got all this knowledge, so they are not too worried about the technology. How happy are you with your family members at the moment? Basically, they are very happy. From previous studies, they said that from other people's study, they said marital status is very important contribution to happiness. And in the Malanao community, traditional family values are very strong. How is your relationship with your neighbors? There is social network with community that says that people have satisfaction with life. So having the score of almost very happy, so they have this strong social network. And the conclusion is that sago industry has a very aging male-dominant structure of majority of the people are 50 to 60 with lower school education, and sago farmers are not full-time sago farmers. Despite the program, they are still not they do not actually not very receptive towards the program. And in financial terms, they are poor, but they are happy. So there are other dimensions in the subjective well-being that determine the level of happiness other than financial terms. And their relationship and provision for the children are just equally important as financial. So we hope that we can expand this further to construct the happiness index, and we will look forward to collaborate with our Bhutanese counterpart. And therefore, I'd like to thank you very much for your attention. And there are just some pictures of the Malanao community in their traditional celebration. Thank you very much.